Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the attraction hunt entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we return to you this week to discuss a video game. That's right, Haunt Weekly becomes Video Game Weekly. It actually was a great magazine back in the day.
Well, and we've done other episodes about video games. We're going to talk about one of them
We're
later.
not going to mention it again, so this is coming up full circle. But yes, we're talking about a video game that has enraptured the house a little bit. Maybe enrapture's a little strong, but has become a key part of our home. And we want to talk about its impacts both on the haunt industry and the escape room industry, which are adjacent industries. But if that is not your jam, if that doesn't sound like something you want to listen to, understood. There's lots of other Haunt Weekly episodes, 396 to be exact. You can find them all at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/Haunt Weekly. Also, wherever you get your podcast from, we don't care. Our provider just puts it out there, and whoever picks it up, picks it up. Very cash about that.
Uh-huh.
Well, anyways, we actually need to begin this week with something we haven't begun with in a long time. I forgot to put it in the notes.
Yeah.
Work we did on the haunt.
Yeah.
We actually have a few items to discuss. Crystal, Toledo.
So demolition started.
Yep.
That's good.
That's good. Demolition has started.
I am very upset with Past Us for the way that we did rushed builds at the end.
Which is hilarious because Past Us in this situation would have been either late 2019 or early 2020. Might have been something we did in the rush to HauntCon.
Yeah.
And that visit. Because we were closed 2019 due to our road being torn up. But we knew about that closure in September, so we didn't really need to rush that much.
Yeah.
So we kind of stopped work with like the haunt being about 85% done, we'll say. And then it's like, oh yeah, we're having people over for HauntCon. Fuck!
Yeah.
That's how that went. But hey, you know what? Past Us has always been dicks.
Yeah.
Go back 396 episodes. Past Us always been dicks. I don't see why Future Us will be any different.
Yeah.
But whatever. So yeah, that began, and we also took advantage of an Amazon Prime deal.
Mm-hmm.
And have acquired 6 indoor-outdoor cameras. Honestly, we don't have a plan on how to use them.
Well, we've got some ideas.
We got ideas, but ideas do not equal plan.
All right.
But, because basically, we want to actually use them for security on the house.
Yeah.
And it's basically, we had a guy come over from our homeowner's insurance and basically just pull up in front of the house, even though I was home. Ellie was gone, I think.
Yeah. So it looked like nobody was home because no cars
there were no
were
cars.
here.
He just pulled up, got out of the car, and walked right into our backyard, took photos of shit all over the property, then left. And he was gone, like, so fast.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. And I realized we didn't have any coverage of him. Haunt cameras are off. We didn't have any coverage on once he passed the front of the house, so we're fixing that. That's part of what we're fixing.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a feeling some of them are going to find use either in the haunt or at the very least the queue line.
Yeah.
Because these are supposedly very good cameras. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about that. We were supposed to put them up this weekend, but we had a lot going on. And the other thing I think we can say we did for haunt work was we may have made connections that are going to get us a lot more actors.
Yeah, it seems that way. We had a wonderful breakfast this morning with new friends.
I'd call it brunch, but there was no alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, it was appropriate, too, because there were underage people there. So that's totally reasonable.
Yeah. There were going to be goats. The goats were outside in the rain.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of rain.
It's kind of... Look, when you say the fact that our plans were interrupted by rain, and you remember we live in New Orleans...
Yeah.
It sounds kind of like our fault.
But it usually doesn't rain that hard in the morning. That's usually afternoon showers.
Yeah, that's the 3 p.m. shower, 3 to 4 p.m. shower we got. So, yeah. But anyway, so we made some good connections. Honestly, it feels like it's been a productive weekend for the haunt, even if not super much has happened.
Yeah.
I actually feel like we've made some ground up. In fact, I've got to send some messages to that family when we're done here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm happy to bring that segment back.
Yes.
Even with the crushing fucking heat, my God.
Yes, and all of you people out there saying so many days to Halloween, stop it. It is not doing anything.
You're not helping my anxiety. And I have GI issues that are connected to anxiety. You're not helping.
Yeah, exactly.
No. So yeah, please be thoughtful of the people who are behind when you post those. We're people who are behind.
Yes.
Well, anyways, moving on, because it's what we do. Every week we try to ask you a question a week, and last week's was a fun one, and we got some great answers on it. It was, if money were no object, where would you build a haunt that doesn't have one currently? We didn't want to talk about putting other haunts out of business.
No.
No, we wanted to get into this game of where needs a haunt that, and y'all came through. Yep. First off, Chris Gay, longtime friend of the podcast. There's this is all according to him, there's an abandoned shopping plaza outside of Atlantic City, New Jersey, which is right at the intersection of the Garden State Parkway and the Atlantic City Expressway. That, in addition to being at the intersection of two major interstates in that area, highways/interstates in that area, is also across the street from the Spirit Halloween headquarters store.
That was in the news last week?
Yeah, we covered in the news last week. And, and Chris said it was perfect for a seasonal indoor haunt plus summer festivities to capture the Jersey Shore, people that go there. Yeah, okay, yeah, you know what? That's some good thinking. I cannot argue against that at all. I have no counter.
Yeah, right. Another longtime listener, Sam Farrell, said, near Asheville, North Carolina, area is known for density of breweries. Make note, visit Asheville.
Yeah, I know.
Open
bucket list.
Open a year-round frights and flights attraction for smaller themed haunts to go with beer flights. That's a good little business plan there.
And I love the name. That's good marketing. It got brand. I like this one.
Yeah.
All right. Halloween Haunted House, Hudson, New Hampshire said. Salem, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Now, I looked into it. There are haunted attractions in Salem.
Yeah.
But I think their point was that there are no year-round ones that I could find.
Yeah, and there's only one actual haunted attraction. The rest are ghost tours and haunted houses that are supposed to be actually haunted with ghosts. Yeah. That kind of thing.
And I think it may have the French Quarter problem.
Yeah.
Where there's such an overabundance of spooky shit to do that a haunt just doesn't fit. And also, putting a haunt, like we were talking about, and it's still where I would immediately think to do it.
Me too.
But I also understand the headache we're signing ourselves up for between smaller units, because it's a historic area, and putting up with historic committees. So...
Yeah, but I really was surprised to hear that Salem did not have a major attraction.
No. It has one, and it does seem to have some notoriety, but yeah, that's interesting. Next up,
Samuel J. Howard said, Springfield, Illinois. So much focus on Chicago area wants to pull focus to the center of the state.
I can't argue that. And the thing I love about that is we've talked on this podcast before about how normal people, pro tip, we're not normal people, and I include both Crystal and I in that we, and you, dear listener, in that we, because if you're listening to a podcast called Haunt Weekly that's hit 396 episodes, I'm going to assume you're a wee little bit of a fan and might travel further than the average customer for a haunted house. But we've seen where customers will travel 30 miles up to 50 miles, but not much further. So if you've got an area far enough outside of Chicago, you might have a whole new untapped market. And like you pointed out, the Chicagoland area does get a lot of focus, very deservedly so, I might add. The haunts are plentiful and excellent in our experience there. But yeah, I think that's a great idea. And Carolyn Wells said Hawaii. Specifically, she said that Maui apparently has a major Halloween parade and basically shuts down for Halloween. But many islanders haven't been to a haunted house. Now, there is a haunted attraction in Honolulu. But it does not seem to be very well regarded according to the Google reviews. I mean, I know nothing about it. But we did know a person that ran a large home haunt there. They now operate, and they moved to the States. They moved to the mainland. Sorry. The lower 48 is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
They moved to those states. I don't know where exactly. But we didn't know someone that actually ran a very large home haunt there. Mm-hmm. And apparently this is just not super widespread yet. I think, honestly, Maui and Honolulu in general could be a great spot for a year-round haunt.
Yeah, there are enough tourists coming in that it makes sense.
And that's just it. It's Galveston, it's New Orleans, it's Austin, it's San Antonio, where you've got enough tourists to sustain a fairly significant year-round haunt.
Yeah.
Gatlinburg also has one. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea too. So honestly, yeah. I really don't have much objection to any of these.
No.
All right, but this week's question of the week is, do you have any video games haunters should play? Our answers are coming up, but we want to hear yours. Let us know at hauntweekly.com, hauntweekly on Twitter, hauntweekly on Facebook, and youtube.com/hauntweekly. Leave a comment, send an email, post a reply, but also post the question directly on Facebook. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm very curious what y'all have to say. All right, so it's that time of year.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas, but better in many ways. It's Steam summer sales.
Yeah.
So for some PC gamers like us, this is kind of a holy time.
Yeah, it's time to explore all of the new to us games.
Yeah.
And I like going into the co-op section and just seeing what's there and what's available.
And I know Crystal and I have played an ungodly amount of Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah.
I think, in fact, I noticed today when we exited that Steam's like, you have played 750 hours. DRG is going to become the first game I have put 4 digits of hours in according to Steam.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I put in 200 hours in Just Cause 2, I thought that was batshit insane.
Yeah.
And I never thought I would see anything like that. No, and then Deep Rock, we hit 750.
Yeah.
That's a lot of hours. But, so, like you said, we jump into the co-op. Mm-hmm. And this time around, we plucked out a weird little game that caught our eye.
Yeah.
Called Escape Simulator. Mm-hmm. It's developed and published by Pine Studio, and originally was released in October 2021, so a year and a half ago, basically. Features online co-op. They say 2 to 3 players are ideal. I agree.
I do too, because it gets very crowded, because the rooms are small. So imagine if you were in in real life, a physical room escape with too many people. If you've been in that situation, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So same goes for the virtual.
Yeah, there was one room we did, I remember, it was like, oh yeah, we can take up to 12 people. We had 7.
Yeah.
And the first room, we were assholes and elbows, because the whole point is you're supposed to escape that first tiny room and then blossom out into the bigger space.
Yeah.
But that first room, man, it was like that scene from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where everyone's in the shrinking room and everyone's crowded into the tunnel. It was like that. I mean, we won, we did well, but Jesus Christ. I mean, if I'd spent another minute in there, I was going to get claustrophobic. And I do not have claustrophobia.
Yeah.
But yes, they say 2 to 3 players are ideal. We agree. I know a lot of you out there are Steam Deck users these days. Mm-hmm. It is Steam Deck compatible, full-on compatible. And the base game features a total of 27 rooms. And that's the professional design rooms that they give you. There's one tutorial, which even though it's not really an escape room, there is an escape room at the end of it where you can find collectible items.
Yes, because that's one thing that this has, is it has two missions.
Yeah, each one has 2 missions.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that a little more in a minute.
Yeah.
In addition to the tutorial, there are 4 locations with 5 rooms each. There's an Egyptian one, a space one, an old-timey mansion one. Mm-hmm. So, various rooms. And then they have 6 quote-unquote extra rooms which don't have an overarching theme, but they provide. There's 2 sets of DLC. Each adds 4 more rooms, and each focus on one location.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the steampunk one of
that. Yeah, we've been on a bit of a steampunk kick lately.
Yeah.
Which haunter hasn't had a steampunk kick, though, honestly? I don't think you're a haunter if you haven't.
But one of the things that I'm really looking forward to are the community rooms, which we haven't had a chance to play yet, because we're still getting used to the game.
Yeah. We did complete all of the Egyptian rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I think that the next one is a community room, probably. And they have haunted house-themed ones, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do next, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure it'll be fun. But here's the thing. Yeah, there's tons of community rooms, and it looks like they have a very healthy community there, making rooms. But the actual rooms that they provide are bite-sized.
Yeah.
They are small rooms. If they were in a physical space, they'd probably be about 20 foot by 20 foot.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
They're on
three
the time,
people feels crowded.
Which is why 3 people is about what you want to do, honestly. But the rooms themselves are 15 minutes each. Mm-hmm. And both rooms feature a main puzzle, which is a sequence of puzzles, more aptly, that you try to complete. And there are bonus tokens hidden in every motherfucking tiny-ass crack dickheads can shove them into.
Yes.
Put them on a fucking scarab that crawls across. Why? That's totally fair.
Yeah. You can't stop the scarab. I tried to plug the holes in the wall with the bricks.
You had to catch it and grab the token.
Yeah.
Like Pop did, back in the day when he was wrestling scarabs.
Yeah, and one of the things about the tokens is you can look for those after the mission's over. So don't get too distracted with them, because you could stay in the room.
While on the clock, yeah.
Yeah, you can stay in the room after the clock is stopped.
The least of the rooms we've done, there's a 15-minute timer, and like you said, there's post-game fuck-about mode where you can try to find all of the tokens. And we found all the tokens in some of the rooms. We've been hit and miss there. But we've been enjoying the actual puzzles a lot. But yeah, they're small rooms. Don't expect much exploration. Mm-hmm. Don't expect to, have a moment where it opens up into a bigger space. That would be a cool thing, but it seems that's not the focus of this game.
Right.
Right now, if you catch this before the 12th, which is when the Steam game's in, so this is going live the 10th. So if you do it the day release or the day after, pretty much, you can get it for 25% off it, but it's usually just $15. So it's like $11.50 or something. Yeah. It's not the biggest discount in the world, so don't worry if you miss it.
But it's also not the biggest investment.
Yeah. And the DLC's on sale, too. Mm-hmm. But once again, not significant discounts and not much money for those either. But yeah, the thing that we noticed and the reason we're doing this episode is it actually scratched our escape room itch that we've had.
Yeah.
We've been talking amongst us about going to an escape room, getting a team together, seeing with Dawn or someone else, or Matt or someone else we know can play, and then go to an escape room. And we haven't done that yet. Mm-mm. And I think the conversation has died down thanks to this game. And that's what we want to discuss is why.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a bit of a winding path. I promise we're going to come back to Escape Simulator in a little bit. That's for those of you who don't want to listen to the whole episode but are just curious about the game, that gives you the 411 on the game. Do recommend, if you want to end the episode here, I understand. Recommend the game. Go get it. It's on Steam.
Go listen to a different on-weekly episode.
Yeah, tons of them. And I already listed the places twice. I don't feel like doing it again. Mm-hmm. So, here's the thing. Some background on us is I actually pulled up our notes. We've played roughly 25 escape rooms, which is a weird number.
Yeah.
Like, the really passionate fans have done many, many times that.
Hundreds of escape rooms.
I think I've seen on one of the groups, a couple people have hit 1,000. It gets ridiculous how many they have. Yeah. But so we're weirdly low if we were fans of escape rooms, but weirdly high for just casual people.
Right.
Again, most people are like, I did 1 or 2, I had a couple. No, we've done 25.
Yeah.
So it's a weird number. We've won all but 4. 2 were due to issues in the room. I don't count those as our losses.
No. So 2 real losses then.
Yeah. 2 quote-unquote real losses that I agree our team failed the objective.
Yeah.
Maybe it was an unfair objective, but we failed the objective legitimately. I call it. Oh, again, the ones that were not actual losses. 1, there were broken locks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we lost 15 minutes wrestling with that. Mm-hmm. And the other was a room where you and I went in as a twosome, and they had lied to us and told us the room could be completed with a twosome when it objectively could not.
Right.
That is bullshit.
You needed a third person. We still got closer
And they expect us, well, man, you did way better than I thought. What the fuck?
Yeah, you did the best out of 2 people teams we've ever seen. Oh, so nobody's actually completed it with 2 people.
Yeah, and we got stuck and spent our last 10 minutes on a puzzle that realistically needed 3 people.
Yeah.
There was no way 2 people could have actually done that.
No.
Oh my God, I was so frustrated with that. So, oh yeah, it's totally doable. 2 people, oh yeah. Then to get out, I'm like, wow, y'all got further than twosome ever.
Yeah.
The fuck, dude?
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, yes. Now, all of our escape room playing took place between September 2015 and October 2019.
Right.
And things shut down for obvious reasons in early 2020. But here's the thing. We were stuck at home like everyone else during the pandemic.
Yep.
We had an itch to do an escape room. Mm-hmm. So what we did is we tried mail order escape rooms.
Yeah. So there was a service called Finder
And
Seekers.
it actually still exists. I checked.
Yeah. That's $30 a month or $300 a year. And it's a combination of internet and physical pen and paper. So they send you a box and you unbox it. And then you go to the website and you pull up videos and questions. And you have to answer the questions to get to the next
page.
Quote a section of the game.
Yeah. And the boxes themselves contained a lot of paper stuff.
Yeah.
But also 1 or 2 physical items. Like one came with a special flashlight that was like red colored, red tinted, and
one came with a metal compass.
Yeah, I mean
it actually felt like hefty and nice.
Yeah.
And one came with a rocket.
Yeah. So I think we actually, or Ellie was the one that actually did this, so I don't know for certain, but I think she did the 6-month subscription.
Yeah.
Because I think we played 3, and then we shelved 3.
Yeah.
Because it really wasn't doing it for us.
Right.
And the thing is, the puzzles weren't bad, right?
No.
I don't want to totally dunk on it. I think someone who's not us might get more out of this on it, and that's just truth.
This would be good for a corporate setting, for a team building episode, or if you've got a class that you want to introduce them to the idea of escape rooms.
I also think it might be good for individuals.
Yeah.
Because if you want to do escape rooms but you don't have a team, or you know what I mean, then it might work. Because problem 1 was that the games were very linear.
Yeah. That
problem is overcome if it's just you. One person can definitely do these quote-unquote rooms.
Yeah.
No problem. So yeah, even when multiple people could work together, it was very hard with the paper. Mm-hmm. Because it was very hard, because most of them are letter-sized pieces of paper. It's very hard to share and let everyone see it, and work on it at the same time.
Yeah, we tried to do one with a friend at a bar.
Yeah, back when they allowed outdoor dining. It was during one of those respites.
Yeah.
We brought a friend to a big picnic table outside of a bar.
Yeah. And
that did not work.
We did not finish it in the time allotted.
No. Yeah, and honestly, there is a quote unquote time limit, but it's not really a time limit.
Right. There's no loud buzzer that's going to go off. They're not going to yell at you whenever it happens either.
No. It's nice for a relaxing time and to solve a few puzzles. Like I said, if I were in one person instead of 3 or 4 trying to do it, I think it would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
But trying to do it in a group didn't really work. And like I said, it was very, very linear. It just didn't scratch the itch.
Right.
So yeah, we ended up not renewing the subscription. And we still have 3 unopened games in our living room.
Yeah, I'm probably donating one to work. Yeah. Because so one of the things that the SimLab's doing is building escape rooms using the bodies and having students solve questions that they'll be tested on later by doing it in physical.
Man, school is so cool these days. Man, when we old fuckers were in school, they didn't do shit like this.
So I'm excited because we're going to get one of those tables, like the autopsy tables, that's virtual.
Oh, wow.
It's full size virtual autopsy.
That is wicked.
Yeah. It's like things out of TV shows that I never thought would actually exist.
And you would actually be able to interact with it at any point. Yeah. So that's kind of our history with escape rooms. Played a lot of physical ones. Pandemic. Tried the virtual ones. We tried some online ones too.
Yeah.
And in fact, we did an episode on them. I'm trying to remember what that was. But we were not super over the moon about those either.
Right.
So we have tried a lot of different approaches to scratch that itch without going to an escape room. Which is interesting because that's kind of how the history of escape rooms work.
Yeah.
So a brief history of escape rooms. There's actually some debate about how the concept started. Because a lot of it is, how do you define an escape room?
Right.
Because there were attractions that could be seen as like proto-escape rooms in Japan before even the virtual ones.
Yeah.
But some say yes, some say no, but whatever. But basically, the history of widespread global popularity does begin virtually.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way back to the 1970s and adventure games and text games, but it realistically began in earnest in the early 2000s. Because basically that was an era in which there was all these Flash games being made. And one of the easiest and types of game to make with a Flash using that system was an escape room. Tiny environment, didn't have to do a lot of drawing and art.
Yeah.
Easy to program. So escape the room type games became this whole genre of free game that when gangbusters.
Yeah, and you really liked them. You played quite a few of those.
Way too many of those. I went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for those for a time. And apparently I wasn't alone.
Right.
Because the first modern physical escape room opened in Japan in 2007. But realistically, it started in the United States in like 2012, and then between 2012 and like 2017 or so, it really was in a growth in the United States. 2015 is what many considered the golden age of escape rooms in the United States.
That's when like everybody has to go. We want all of the escape rooms. Just kidding.
But as we've discussed in other episodes, the market, and especially like going back to the Trans World one, there's been some struggle in that market.
Yeah, because there are just so many of them.
Yeah.
They oversaturated the market. And people who don't go to haunted houses don't realize that the haunted house ones are different than the ones you play in a shopping center.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because basically with an escape room, right, you have a lack of replayability. Once you've completed escape room, win, lose, or draw, you realistically can't go back and do it again.
Yeah. Because
you solved the puzzles.
Yeah, and for a while there were a lot of these out-of-the-box kind of escape rooms that you could go to, and those were just poor quality games.
Yeah.
They were very linear. There wasn't a lot of play that you could do simultaneously. Yeah. And they ruined part of the reputation of them.
Yeah, a lot of people got in on it. I mean, like we went to some of these office park escape room type things, and some of them were really good.
Yeah.
Because maybe the sets weren't the greatest, but the guy cleverly made it the bookie's office. Yeah. So the fact you're in an office park,
right,
in an office that looks like an office, works.
Right, because they took into account the story.
Yeah. And he actually had, the one I'm thinking of, had really good puzzle design.
Yeah, he did. And he didn't do an out-of-the-box one.
No. But there were, like you said, a lot of these that just stunk.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like if you bought a template for an escape room and had it shipped to you and just set it up randomly.
Yeah, and not particularly well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, here's a blank room. We've put pictures on the wall that kind of fit the theme. And here's a couple of puzzles.
So, like, even in 2019, they were struggling with those issues. And then, of course, the pandemic hits and doesn't help anything.
Right.
So, yeah, there are a lot of challenges in this industry. I think the industry's still going to do well. I still think the games that have the high-quality games, I think, will continue, that are in good places for those games, will still do very well. I think that's one thing to consider because, like Rise had some really amazing games.
Yeah.
But the location wasn't right.
Right.
So those games have moved now to Baton Rouge. They're with 13th Gate, or they've been divvied up, actually. But I think the ones I was following the closest went to 13th Gate. That's a better place because there definitely is a more of a turnover, more of a, you know what I mean? It makes more sense than Tickfall, Louisiana, basically. Yeah. But yeah, the basic history of the escape room has been that it's going back and forth between virtual and real. And now that brings us back to Escape Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is why this is incredibly interesting, or why we're interested to talk about it at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Because this game scratches that escape room itch in a way that no virtual one had.
Yeah.
Because I remember playing the virtual ones, like in the early 2000s,
right.
especially, and thinking, man, it'd be so cool if someone just did something like this and for real.
Yeah.
Like, you get your hands on it and played. You think about all the things you could do. And now someone took the physical experience and brought it back to the virtual in a fairly significant way.
Yeah, and it's, full 3D.
Yeah.
So you can look around everywhere. There's no jumping in it, but you do crouch, so you can see underneath things. And you can interact with everything in the room.
Yeah, and interact in this case means you pick it up. And you can spin it around and look at it and examine it really closely.
You can throw it at your teammates. It does not hit them.
Does not hurt them in any way, shape, or form. But it's amusing. Yes, you can. But also, I think one difference is, like, going back to the 2000s, the puzzles were very arbitrary. Those puzzles felt more like adventure game puzzles.
Yeah.
Like from King's Quest, Sam and Max, that type of stuff.
Right.
Way back those days. Where Escape Simulator is trying to simulate a physical escape room.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny when you think about it, because Escape Simulator is simulating a physical escape room, and a physical escape room was a simulation of the virtual ones that existed before that.
Right, exactly.
So we've hit the next layer, it feels like. And because of that, most of the puzzles follow traditional escape room logic and rules.
Right.
Now, there are exceptions.
Yeah.
For one, you can break things, and in fact, you have to break things.
Yeah, you have to break things. Some of the puzzles include actually destroying items.
Yeah.
Like, fully destroying, where it disappears and you, like, holy shit, did I do that
one where you had
wrong?
to break an object in order to get a key out of it, for example. Yeah, and there's no other way to progress other than smash and grab the key. Mm-hmm. The games, nothing is realistically off limits in these games in terms of what they can do. Like the Egyptian one, the final one, ended on top of this pyramid, interacting with things way off in the distance. Our actual space to move around was still tiny, but you're looking way off into the distance.
Yeah,
you can't do that with a real escape room.
Right.
So yeah, the game has elements that are not physically possible anywhere else. The controls are a wee little bit janky and take some getting used to, especially if you're using a controller. I personally encourage keyboard mouse.
Yeah, and if you're used to keyboard mouse, then use that. But if you're used to a controller, use a controller.
There is a little jank, though, with the controller, I will admit that, though.
Yeah.
And also, one of the weird things we notice is that it's really easy to forget what you're carrying.
It is. However, your teammates can look at you because it's all sticking out your pockets.
Yeah, so that's a little weird. So it does do that. But basically, you have to approach Escape Simulator the way you would approach a real escape room. What's up?
Yeah, because, I can say in a real escape room, I've picked up a key or I see a box with blah, 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 blah on it. And you do that in this game, too.
Yeah.
But since you're not carrying the physical thing in your hand where you can see, everybody can see that you're holding something, it is harder to know what people have.
Exactly. But that said...
And a shared inventory would actually, solve that.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. But that said, the skills you use in Escape Simulator are identical to the ones you use in a real escape room. Communication, most important. We have only played with people physically in the room with us.
Right.
So I don't know how well the communication is over the mic, over like a mic.
Right.
So that's something that I would look into if you're going to be playing with people not in the room with you, not like at a LAN party environment.
Yeah.
But communication is incredibly important. The willingness to examine everything, crouch down, look underneath shit, zoom in at stuff, look at it, see if it opens. Yeah. A lot of lateral thinking. Like one of my favorite puzzles they had, and this sounds so stupid.
Right.
But got to remember, this is in a virtual world. We had to get a code of hieroglyphics off of something, and we actually had to sweep the dust off of it.
Yeah.
That sounds so dumb. It's like, of course you sweep the dust off it. What are you talking about? That's why I don't feel like that's a spoilers, because it is the obvious answer.
And it was the first thing in the first room.
Yeah. But you have to find the brush and use the brush to sweep the dust off.
And you have to let your teammates know that you have the fucking brush.
Ellie?
Oh, I thought it was you.
Oh, what? Jonathan? Asshole. No. It may have been me. I don't remember. We were still learning the controls at that moment.
We were, because it was the very first room.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize that there wasn't a shared inventory.
Yeah.
Because you can get clues also, like a voice of God and a physical.
Yeah, they actually simulated that too, which is interesting.
Yeah. But the clue only goes to whoever picks it up. And then you have to share it.
Yeah. So, yeah. To repeat, though, we have not played any of the community rooms. We're looking forward to doing that. So, But yeah, ultimately, I really do recommend this game very, very highly. Just bear in mind that this game is crushingly family friendly.
Yeah.
And I do mean that, like when you look at the art style, it looks like a children's cartoon almost.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, this doesn't look like an adult game almost, but it very much is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's family friendly. Don't expect anything too scary or too violent. Even looking at the haunted mansion ones, they look more Disney haunted mansion than they do.
I don't know.
We're going to find out.
We'll find out. Maybe we'll report or at least comment on this episode.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to. We'll mention it in a later episode. I'm sure of that. But yeah, I mean, basically, we really enjoyed this game, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it tonight. Actually,
yeah,
I really am. And the fact I'm saying that is actually kind of bad news for the escape room industry, and I am sorry to be that bearer of bad news.
Yeah,
because on top of all the issues we discussed earlier, now digital alternatives are becoming mainstream again.
Yeah, because there was a lot of love for this game. So one of the things that I do whenever I find new games is I go out and I look what the community's saying about them. How wide has the word spread about the game? What are the cons? What are the pros? And does it sound like a good fit for us? Yeah.
Because it can be a great game and just not a good fit for us. It might be better for someone else. And no, everything we found about this game was a lot of love. It has been reviewed well by both reviewers and users and players.
Yeah.
And like you said, you go into the forums and you go into the community level editor and all that. There are a lot of people that have invested a lot of time into this game, time and care into this game that are not the developers.
Yeah.
Which, that sounds kind of crazy, but it is true. And a virtual escape room has limitations, yes, but it has a lot of advantages. The biggest advantage is it's so inexpensive compared to a real one. We paid $12 for this game. If you get it off sale, it's $15. You can either look at it as, like I said, 27 tiny rooms, but even if you just look at it as like the Egyptian sequence is one room, because it takes about an hour, a little bit over an hour to complete it, you still get 4 escape rooms for that price. Find me an physical escape room where it's $15 for a ticket to do 4 rooms.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
No.
You can barely, you would have to hunt and probably make some sacrifices to get a $15 ticket for 1 room.
You may be able to do like a 5-minute escape room with that, but that's not a full experience.
No. It can be played remotely. We all happen to be in the same room, but you don't have to be.
Yeah. So
if you don't have to get your team cobbled together, you don't have to find a time in which everyone can schedule to go to the escape room. Because this can be picked up and put down impulsively. Yeah. Hey, we're not doing anything right now. You want to do an escape room? Boom. We don't have to call and make an appointment and be there next week for it. We don't have to book it, online or whatever. It's just, hey, want to do an escape room? 5 minutes later, we're in an escape room. Yeah. You can't beat that.
No, that's very nice.
That's an incredible, but it's very evil. Yeah. And also, it can do experiences that just aren't possible in physical escape rooms. Mm-hmm. Like I talked about the thing with being on the top of the pyramid in Egypt.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And there is actually a VR component to this. We do not have a VR headset that is compatible with Steam. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to check at some point and see if it's on, because we actually have the Meta Quest 2. It's sitting on my shelf behind me right now. I haven't actually pulled it out in quite a while. Partly because I didn't have a place to. Now I actually do. The office is cleaned out enough that I can actually do it.
Yeah.
But so I need to check that. But there is a VR component of it if you have that. And that would be pretty cool, I think. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be really interesting. But yeah, from a competition standpoint, this is tough to beat. And yeah, I mean, escape rooms are still a physical experience, and this obviously is not. But that's very, very meaningful to hardcore escape room fans. That's very meaningful to corporate clients that are doing team building and things like that.
Yeah.
But to a casual player who just gets a bug up their ass and wants to try an escape room, this might be a good enough substitution.
Yeah. Well, and this might get them interested in doing.
And again, then there could be the counter side, which this could be people's introduction to escape rooms, because that is one of the problems I think escape rooms have, is that if you've never done one before, the buy-in is fucking huge.
Yeah, and you might be intimidated by the idea of it. I talk to a lot of people, and they're just intimidated by the idea of going in and failing in front of other people.
That's true, and all of these rooms are doable solo.
Yeah.
I mean, we're focusing on the co-op aspect because we're focusing on that in our gameplay.
Yeah, I think it would be difficult to do it in the time limit.
Yeah. If you're going to do it solo, give up on the time limit in advance.
Yeah.
You may be able to beat the time limit, but it's going to be a lot harder. I personally would. And honestly, the time limit's more of a suggestion.
Yeah.
Because, you do get a pretty little trophy, or not actually, you don't actually get anything. Yeah. You get an icon of a trophy when you do it under the time limit, but there's no, you have failed.
Yeah, there's no countdown or beep, beep, beep.
Take your embarrassing photograph and get out.
Hate those.
Yeah, I do too. I hate them when we win.
Yeah.
I hate them worse when we lose.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. And like when we went to the wax museum and all that, and they wanted to take our photograph on the way, and we're like, can we just fucking not?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure? Yes, I'm very sure. I don't want my fucking photo taken.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? They actually did, and to their credit, like, all right, thank you. Yeah, I'm not saying we won't ever do a physical escape room again, but it's definitely going to be a more rare treat.
Right, and, with Ellie's store and with our busy, weekly jobs, our full-time jobs, it's harder and harder to find times to schedule things like this.
Yeah, it's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
So, and that speaks again to the advantage of the virtual. We can just do this whenever the fuck we want. Midnight on Sunday night, midnight before we go to bed?
Yeah.
Why the fuck not? We got 15 minutes before we're turning in.
Yeah, I'm not turning on my brain that late.
But
that's the reason why not.
But theoretically, we could.
Yeah, I know, we could.
Yeah. The point remains. We're not working around the escape room schedule. The escape room is working around our schedule now.
Yeah.
Which is great. Yeah, and this basically made it a little less urgent. The conversations we were having about doing an escape room got a little bit less urgent. Or a lot less urgent, actually. So this got me thinking, though, how does this apply to haunted attractions? If a virtual escape room can offer both some competition and possibly some overlap and collaboration with physical ones, what about haunts? Well, I think haunts are different. And the reason is haunted attractions aren't games.
Right.
At least I don't see them as games. Maybe, hey, if y'all do, the places to comment and let us know. Tell me how wrong I am.
Yeah.
I'm okay being wrong. I don't take offense to that. But there's no game element. There's no fail or victory state. I guess if you powder out, you surrender, then you fail. I mean, I guess that is one way to look at it. But that's not really a game.
Right.
You know? It's an in-person experience, and the itch comes from, the adrenaline you get from genuinely being scared. And I love scary video games. Mm-hmm. But they don't scare. They don't hit the way a haunted attraction does. A real actor can do so much more to me than the monster in like Amnesia: The Dark Descent or something, right? Mm-hmm. Like an actor can do so much more to me than a character in a game. I mean, yeah, I'll admit it. Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie coming out now. Mm-hmm. I actually did not enjoy the game that much. I played it a couple of times and I actually got a few nights. I got to like night 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But I found it a struggle to go through just because it is so tense. It's very tense. Right. But it's not like scary tense to me.
Yeah.
It's an anxiety tension rather than someone's going to pop out and scare me tense.
Yeah.
But I know that's weird. Maybe it's just me. I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on this. But that's, for me, it hits a very different kind of anxiety, a very different trigger.
Now, I do think that a virtual escape room like this may be interesting to be able to play when you're in line.
Yeah.
Waiting to go into a haunt.
Yeah, I could see that. Or even an AR one. You might be able to do an AR one.
Yeah.
Using like the phones and things like that.
Yeah, to find shit around the outside of the haunt.
And solve puzzles. Yeah. And that could be cool. Like Zombie Army has the ghost hunting one. Yeah. An escape room / puzzle one. Could be a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think the haunted attraction experience though can be. I mean, maybe in some VR games. I've not done a lot of horror VR. I have to admit that is a limitation. Mm-hmm. But in like just regular PC games, like we talked about Layers of Fear way back in episode 109.
Yeah.
So damn near 300 episodes ago.
Yes.
They actually apparently just released a third game.
Right.
Which is confusingly called Layers of Fear. They have Layers of Fear 2, and then Layers of Fear.
Uh-huh.
But also they have apparently a Blair Witch game by the same developer that does a lot of the same stuff. The Amnesia series, I mentioned Amnesia: The Dark Descent, played that. Mm-hmm. They just released their 4th game. Yeah. Bunker, I think is what it's called.
Yeah. And
apparently that's pretty good. Like, I'd heard not kind things about the 2nd and 3rd Amnesia games, but I'm hearing kind things about the 4th one. There's Soma, there's Outlast, there's a bunch of other of these quote-unquote horror walking simulator games. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed them. We loved Layers of Fear. Loved it enough to do a whole fucking episode on it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't... But it was interesting because when we did Layers of Fear, we did the whole episode on it. We weren't talking about, well, damn, now you can get the haunted attraction experience in digital form.
No.
That never even crossed our fucking mind.
Well, no, because with that game, it is such... It does the thing that this simulator does by providing an environment and a playthrough that you can't get in the physical world.
Yeah.
Like, you can't go out of a door and it be completely in a different room without you noticing it.
Yeah. The feeling of getting lost, of going in circles.
Yeah.
And nothing making sense. The Willy Wonka-ness of it, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Second Willy Wonka reference this episode. Weird.
Yeah.
Usually I do 0 in an episode, but this one's about 2. Anyways. But yeah, it just doesn't hit that same itch. And it could be that we're just big haunted attraction fans. Like we said that Escape Simulator is not going to necessarily scratch the itch for a big escape room fan.
Yeah.
It may be the same there. It may be that we're just OTT haunt fans. Mm-hmm. But I also think since haunts aren't games, it's kind of hard to scratch the itch from a game. Mm-hmm. Because that's one thing about even Layers of Fear, is that they have to have some gameplay elements there. And with Layers of Fear, it was simple puzzles and stuff. Escape room stuff.
I'm really curious if you are visually impaired and you're playing a game versus going through a walkthrough of a haunted house, how they compare.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't know either. But I'm really curious if you could scratch a similar itch.
Yeah. But I even like we did the VR experience at 13th Gate. Mm-hmm. That was a horror one.
Yeah.
That didn't scratch that didn't compete with going through the 13th Gate itself. I don't think anyone in their right mind was paying $5 to do the 5-minute VR experience and not going through the haunted house.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be stupid. Mm-hmm. Especially since you put through all that work to get to the 13th Gate. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. For people who live outside of the area.
Yeah, people who live outside the area and have to drive in, it's always a little bit of a challenge to find a place to park and do all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think, to my mind, horror games don't hit haunted attractions the way virtual escape rooms, like Escape Simulator, can hit escape rooms.
Yeah.
I don't think that analogy quite works.
I agree.
And it's hard to say why. But anyways, yeah, so you want to go play some Escape Simulator now?
Sure.
I would guess we should probably wrap up the episode first, though. But thank you all for joining us. Please do let us know your thoughts on this, and maybe we're deluding ourselves. Entirely possible. Maybe I've got this wrong. Maybe I've got this backwards. Let us know. HauntWeekly.com, HauntWeekly on Twitter, HauntWeekly on Facebook, and YouTube.com/HauntWeekly. You can also find us wherever you get your podcast from. But until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you all next week if we don't get too enraptured playing Escape Simulator. We'll try not. See you all then.